Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. A distinctive feature of Ramadan are the daily night prayers. Muslims often refer to them as Taraweeh prayers. What are the Taraweeh prayers? When are they practiced? Where did the practice come from? And did the Prophet Muhammad pray them? Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
Let's talk about the Taraweeh prayers. Tell me a little bit about them, Dr. Shabir.
Yeah, it's an interesting subject for me because, we discuss this year after year.
Yes.
The community gets mobilized in Ramadan. People come out for the night prayers in Ramadan. It's one of the special features, one of the exciting observances of the month of Ramadan. So you're right. Where does it come from? Okay. So first of all, we should say that it's not mentioned in the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
The Quran in general speaks about praying at night and praises that activity. And it seems to be like a regular practice of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, himself, and also of his companions.
Not distinctive to Ramadan.
Not distinctive to Ramadan itself, no. So this is specifically mentioned in the 73rd chapter of the Quran and in other places as well. In fact, believers are generally described as those whose bodies are peeled off of their beds, like in the night. That means, like you think about sleeping, you really want to stay there as if you're stuck to the bed, but you have to kind of peel yourself off to get up and pray. And that's what believers are praised for. So there is a prayer that is referred to as the Tahajjud prayer. The Quran in the 70th chapter says, "Tahajjad bihi nafilatal lak." So the Prophet, peace be upon him, is being told to make effort with the Quran by praying at night, because in the prayer itself, we will recite portions of the Quran. So naturally, believers want to follow the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and pray at night as well. So that night prayer is called the Tahajjud prayer. And it may be prayed in the last third of the night, so before the dawn. Now, it seems that prayer came to be moved to the early part of the night under the caliphate of Umar, because he saw that, people were praying at that time. It was more convenient for them to pray together as a group in the mosque rather than to, go home, go to sleep, then come back after midnight to the mosque. It might have proven difficult for people. So they prayed together in the mosque in the early part of the night, following what is called the late night prayer, or the Isha prayer. And that became known by the special distinctive name, the Taraweeh prayer.
Mm-hmm. So at that time, at Umar's time, that's when it got its name.
Not sure when it got its name, but that's when it seems to have solidified as a standard practice among Muslims. More so, it is mentioned that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, prayed with his community one night. Apparently what was meant to be the same prayer. And then, regardless of what name it was called, and then people told each other, and then the following night, more people came. And then the following night, even more people came. And then eventually the Prophet, peace be upon him, did not come out to pray with them. And they made some, hushed noises in the mosque to somehow try to alert the Prophet, peace be upon him, that they're there and waiting for the prayer, but he didn't come out. But when he did come out in the morning for the regular morning prayers, it is reported he said to them that, I was afraid that if we continue like it was going, then this would become such a standard practice, then it will be difficult for the community to shake that off in the future, and then it will become like an obligation, and then it'll be too burdensome. So he didn't want it to become like an obligation. So he set the pattern that, you could pray it or not pray it. You get reward for praying it, but you don't have to.
So, Dr. Shabir, now it has become standard practice, and people see it as an obligation, right?
Yes.
Especially if they're sort of faithful, they want to practice the faith. They think that they must come for Taraweeh prayer daily, right?
Yes. So now this goes back to the time of Umar, because from the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, when he said, "Sallu fi buyutikum," pray in your houses, people prayed individually at home. Eventually, people came to the mosque and prayed. But they were praying in scattered groups or individually, and Umar saw it wise to gather everybody together to pray behind one leader and an expert reciter of the Quran. And when he saw the results of his edict, he remarked that this is a good innovation. And so it continued from that time onwards, that this was a standard practice. And to the extent that people see it as an obligation. But we Muslims should be balanced in all of our affairs. There are so many things we have to do. We have to serve the community in many ways. We shouldn't only measure our observance in Ramadan by the number of Taraweeh rakats we have prayed, but the number of hospital visits, the number of poor persons we've looked after, the social services and all of that. And sometimes you can't focus on both things. Some people will be good at one thing, some people will be good at the other thing, but we're all one Muslim community. Like some people will be dedicated to prayer. And because
there should be some people who are dedicated to prayer, because it's a beautiful prayer in and of itself, right?
True. And it maintains a certain level of spiritual height within the community that rubs off on others, right? And then on the other hand, some people are good at social welfare and looking after the poor and needy and visiting the sick and so on. So we need, everyone to focus on what they can do well and do it well. But of course, there should be a balance of both. Those who are in social services do pray as well. Those who are praying do perform social services as well. And we're only mentioning two aspects. There's so many things to look after. But we should get a good bit of everything, just like a balanced diet, where you have your carbs and you have your fats and your proteins and, vitamins and all of the necessary ingredients, right, from various foods.
All right. Thank you for that, Dr.
You're welcome. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak. We purchased a building in Mississauga, Ontario. Why? To establish the Muslim Media Hub. What will we do there? We'll continue to produce our television program called Let the Quran Speak, and we'll produce other such films for TV and social media. Support Muslim Media Hub so that together we can spread the message of Islam to the wider world. Go to muslimmediahub.com.